Queen here, Life After Money. This is part of my Trucking Life series of videos, and we're now on number 8, 9, I don't know, I can't remember. 9, I think, 9. Yeah, so I've got a new, well, it's not new actually, this sweatshirt is quite old, but it's not the lemon one that you've seen before with the logo on. I decided we would have to have a new logo, so I thought we need to a bit more up to date. So we've got a truck, and lady truckers lead the way. Well, of course we do. You know, we are the ones leading the way to let everybody know that women can drive trucks. So, where was I with the last video? I left Leicester Heavy Haulage and didn't really have a plan actually, but most people think when you've been driving for a while the next step up would be to buy your own lorry. Well, I never wanted to do that because it's a whole new ball game. I drove lorries because I liked driving lorries. I didn't want to own one, and I came in contact with a lot of owner drivers, and it's just not me. I just didn't want the bother, the worry of owning a lorry. Driving a lorry for me has been like a hobby, and I've been paid for it. So no, I didn't want to own a lorry. I'd got agency work to fall back on, and I thought, well, maybe I could become my own boss, but not buy a lorry, but I would hire myself out as a freelance driver, because by this time I've got a lot of experience in driving just about most jobs, most vehicles, most jobs. I felt confident enough to set myself up as a freelance driver and basically drive for anybody that wanted to pay me. A bit like a one-woman agency really. So that's what I did. I thought, well, I need to tell people what I'm doing. And I was already quite well known in the transport magazines through the Lady Truckers Club. So I wrote to them and they printed my letters to say that I am available now for people, companies, owner drivers, anybody who has a lorry. They can hire me direct, don't have to go through an agency. I did have to okay that with the Inland Revenue. I informed them that I was going to become self-employed. They did query that because I didn't actually have an outlay. I didn't need to buy anything. I needed to buy stationery. I needed a budget for publicity. I needed to go out and look for work. But of course, when I was driving lorries, I would drive other people's equipment. Didn't need to buy tools. Anyway, they did agree that yes, I could become self-employed, and I didn't even need an agency license because there was only me. A bit later on, when I did find work, I did think about starting an agency up, and maybe taking 2 or 3 friends on board with me, and then becoming an agency myself. I did get requests for work which I couldn't cover, and I did get another lady interested in doing the same as what I was doing, but she wasn't reliable. She wasn't, and I got her fixed up with the job, but it just never happened because she wasn't reliable. So then I thought, no, I'm maybe not going to go down that route. I will just get work for myself. And so I got some requests for work, and started going to different people, different places. And I was based in the Midlands at that time, still at home, and there was a business club where I lived in the town, a small business club, and I thought, well, I'm going to join that because I am a small business. So that's what happened, and I did find a lot of work, all in Rugby Cement. Now, Rugby Cement at that time was all owner drivers. It isn't anymore. It belongs to, it's called Cemex. I believe it's a French company now. But at the time, all the vehicles were individually owned by owner drivers, all painted up in orange, and you might be able to see that one. So I was contacted by an owner driver down near Cambridge, and to drive his bulk powder tanker. So I went down there and I learnt how to do the job. The driver went on holiday and I stayed in the house and drove the lorry, and it was fine, 26 tonne of bulk powder cement. I'd done chemical tankers up till that point, but not powder, so I had to learn that job. And it went okay. They were very pleased with the work I did, and some of the other drivers started noticing me and asking me could I drive for them, and work sort of built up slowly, and I had to keep a diary with me all of the time, and they were asking me could I drive, can you check your diary. So I got that much work eventually that they had to book me first, then find a holiday to fit that slot. No point in them booking a holiday first and then asking me to drive. So it had to be the other way around, because from the Cambridge depot I also went in 3 other depots as well, so there were 4 Rugby Cement depots that I was working in. There's a Rugby Cement at Rugby, the place Rugby. There was one near Southam near Banbury, and there was one up near Barton on Humber, near the Humber Bridge. So I was travelling between these depots as well, so drivers from all the depots were seeing that I was the new relief driver because you see, up till that point they hadn't hardly had any holidays at all, because the lorry they were buying was costing up to like £80,000-90,000. They couldn't park their lorries up, they had to work the lorries. So if they didn't have anybody reliable, like a friendly a friend or a family member, then they didn't have holidays. So anyway, I turned up and I was doing the job okay, so I got more and more requests. Could you drive for me? Could you drive for me? And it turned out that I was getting booked up continually from about March time through to about November time. So my diary was full throughout. And during the winter time, when it was I wasn't needed there, I would go back home and sign on for an agency. So I would do agency work mainly in allied breweries, delivering beer in the winter. But yeah, they had to book me in advance to get me, sometimes a year in advance. But yeah, it was I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a bit like being an owner driver without having to pay for the lorry. One owner driver actually did go away. He left the country for a warmer place for 17 weeks over the winter period. So I had the keys of his lorry, and he just said, off you go, there you are, you know the job. And he gave me a series of checks, monthly checks in payment, and he just left me to it, which I felt was a great privilege actually, because I was trusted enough for them to go away and leave me with their vehicle and leave me doing their job. Yeah, it was good. Some of the drivers let me stay in their homes, which was another bonus, because I still had a house in Burton-on-Trent in the Midlands, and I would be working away all the time. Now I did have a little caravan as well, so I would pull the caravan behind my car and park it wherever I happened to be working. So it could be for a week. I didn't take jobs for less than a week, so it would be for a week, 2 weeks, or even longer. So I would use that caravan as a base. Sometimes I slept in the lorry, and sometimes it was convenient to sleep in the lorry, but there were no nights out on the job. But then I sometimes slept in the lorry inside the depot, and they allowed me to do that. So yeah, that job actually lasted for 7 years. I did that, and I've got photographs there for you to show. So shall we go and have a look? Are you going to come with me to have a look? So Rugby Cement, 7 years on delivering bulk powder cement, not the little concrete mixers which people used to get confused about. They were delivering wet concrete. My powder cement was delivered to these concrete making plants, block factories, brick factories, anyone that needed 26 tonne of cement. But anyway, let's go and have a little wander. I'll show you this. Oops, my chair is doing a dance there, look. Move the chair out of the way. I will show you this lorry here. This is an exact replica of one of the lorries that I was driving. Now, it was presented to me from a magazine actually. They gave it to me as a gift because I'd given them lots of stories. So yeah, this is Mr. Lewis's ERF. I don't think it has his name on actually, but it is an ERF. It is. Oops, we're going to get a bit out of focus now. But yes, it's one of a limited edition. So that's quite precious to me. I used to climb up the back there, up the ladder, onto the top. Sometimes I would have to open the lids at the top there, sometimes not. This is a very high-speed blower tank. It does not tip. Some of the earlier tanks would tip up, but these didn't. They were quite modern. The donkey engine at the front there was switched on to provide pressure inside the tank, and the hoses were stored up the side and connected to the back of the little outlet pipe there at the back. They were connected up into the customer's silo, so I would switch the donkey engine on there, pressurise the tank up to the right pressure, and blow away 26 tonne of cement. Depending on the silo I was blowing into, could take only about 20 minutes. If it had to pump a long way, if I couldn't get close to the silo and had to put extra pipes on the back there, and then it was having to blow further, that would take a bit longer, say up to maybe an hour. But there you are. Here we go. Let's go back. We'll go back. Photographs on the desk again. Let's have a look what we've got here. I'm going to shut the curtain a little bit because I'm getting some glare off it. So yeah, the United Red Transport Union magazine. I was on their front cover. 94. That's going back a bit now. Look, 94. So there we go. I remember the Women of Achievement Awards that I organised for the Lady Truckers Club. That was in that copy of that magazine. But and that's Mr. Lewis's tanker. They all have the names on them. So yes, on the front cover there. And they did another feature about me another time. I'm going to have to close the glare off a bit. But yeah, Mr. Randall lived at Rugby, and I drove his lorry while he went away. I stayed in his house as well. Getting too dark now with the light. But yes, he's handing the paperwork over to me and the keys, and he's saying, there you go, I'm off on holiday, you drive my lorry. And that's how it worked. His house, he's off, I've got the lorry. So anyway, I mentioned about the business club that I was a member of in Burton-on-Trent. Small business club. Well, we had a show, a little show, business show where people could come and meet us. So that's my stand. I was called Cross Country Driving, and I've got certificates to prove that I am indeed a well qualified driver. I've actually passed 6 advanced driving tests in cars and lorries. I'm a member of the Institute of Advanced Motorists and the ROSPA Advanced Drivers. So, yep. There's me with the big hair. Oh dear, I seem to lose focus when I go in too close, but never mind. You don't want to see me anyway. Well, this was an owner driver that contacted me, said, could you drive for me please, I want to go on holiday. So I went to meet him, hitchhiked down the motorway to the M1 junction 9 I think it was, met him at a transport cafe, and I went with him for the day for the training. Now on the back he's got a flat trailer and a brick crane grab. Now I'd done high abs before, that's another form of small crane. I needed to learn how to use that grab, so I went out with him for the day, and that's what we did. Then I kept the lorry, dropped him off, he went home, and I kept the lorry then for the week. But the rest of my owner driver self-employed driving really was with Rugby Cement, because it was just ongoing. It was just, you know, they needed a driver, I needed work. So there's such a lot of photographs here, and you see they have different lorries, Mercedes, yeah, Volvos, there, Volvos, and Fodens. You see, I was able to use that lorry there as a backdrop for the Lady Truckers Club when we went to a show. So I went in the lorry. And yeah, that's a Foden and another Foden. I must admit I wasn't too keen on the Fodens, but yeah, Mercedes, pretty good. And 3 in a row there. ERFs. Yeah, this is, I took my own camera when I did that photo shoot for the magazine, so there we are, look. Mr. Lewis says ERF, me sitting there. And again, my name in the cab. Volvos. Where are we? Here we are, look. Yep. Now I've got a blue Lady Truckers sweatshirt on there. We did all different colours. So Mr. Lewis's ERF, he absolutely loved that lorry. And I kept them clean as well while I was working on them, because they get filthy. The job can be very, very filthy. Out in all weathers, of course. Unloading in the pouring rain and snow. I had to wear overalls and rigger boots. I had my own rigger boots, yes. So there we are. me in my several different rubber cement lorries. Now, I've got a photo here. I came across this on the side of the road. It was a rival company actually, but in Circle, and this driver had actually turned his vehicle over on a roundabout. And the thing is, I'm not surprised, because the thing is, the tankers are not full, right? So they're not full, and powdered cement can move around in the tank almost in a similar fashion to liquid. So going round corners, you do not throw it round corners or round roundabouts, because the load will move in the back. Yeah, so he actually came a cropper there, look. But yeah, so I obviously learned how to drive according to the load I was carrying. And you had to know what you were carrying. Right, I'll just go and sit down a minute. I don't know if I've set that up right now. Where's my chair? There's my chair. I need the chair to know if I'm in the right place. Yeah, so 7 years doing that. And in the winter period, of course, I used agencies, which kept me going. Right, I'm going to close it off there now, because there is more to come, and we will be moving on, and then moving on, there's a bit more lady truckers to talk about, and so I hope you find that interesting. It's about me and my trucking life. So this is me, Queen, life after money. Bye for now.